The sun beat down upon the cracked earth, baking it until it radiated heat like a furnace. A lone vulture circled lazily above, its keen eyes scanning for signs of life or death. The wind whispered through the skeletal branches of the acacia trees, their leaves long since withered and gone. And under this unforgiving sky, a small band of Homo erectus trudged forward. They were a tight cluster of dusty figures, hunched shoulders and heads lowered against the relentless sun. Their muscular bodies, covered in thick, dark hair, shook with each step, their limbs caked in a layer of dust that matched the color of their skin. Among them, one female pressed an infant to her chest, the child's large eyes darting nervously from side to side, taking in the unfamiliar surroundings. The small band moved like a single creature, their gazes scanning the horizon, their ears attuned to every rustle and snap. The atmosphere around them crackled with tension, and the very air they breathed seemed thick with danger. For these ancient humans, survival was a daily gamble, and each sunrise brought with it a new set of challenges. Welcome to my channel. Homo erectus was a species of extinct archaic humans that lived from about 2 million to 70,000 years ago. They were known for their upright posture, larger brains, and sophisticated tool-making abilities compared to their predecessors. However, despite their advancements, they still faced numerous threats from both the environment and other animals. Today we will be talking about what some of the most dangerous predators would have been for Homo erectus. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. When thinking of the most feared predator during the time of Homo erectus, the saber-toothed cat is likely to spring to mind. These iconic predators have been portrayed as ferocious hunters in popular culture. But did they actually stalk and kill Homo erectus? Well, yes, but it wasn't quite as dramatic as it may seem at first. Saber-toothed cats are a group of felids that existed from the late Pliocene to the Holocene. They were named for their elongated canine teeth, which were more prominent in males than females, and were used for delivering a fatal bite to their prey. One of the most famous saber-toothed cats is Smilodon fatilis, also known as the saber-toothed tiger, which could reach up to 3 meters in length. It weighed over 400 kilograms and had fangs that were around 30 centimeters long. Despite their large size, they were incredibly nimble and could easily take down prey twice their size. Saber-toothed cats likely hunted in open grasslands where they could use their speed and agility to ambush their prey. They would have been particularly effective at hunting large mammals such as bison and wild horses, which were common prey for Homo erectus. In some cases, saber-toothed cats may have scavenged carcasses left behind by other predators or by Homo erectus. However, there is no evidence that they regularly stole food from humans. But Homo erectus had weapons. Early humans had the ability to create and use tools such as spears and axes, which may have helped them defend themselves against predators. Additionally, humans could use fire to ward off predators and provide them with a safe space to sleep. This may have given Homo erectus a slight advantage over saber-toothed cats, which were generally nocturnal hunters. Another large feline that shares the fearsome reputation of the saber-toothed cat is the lion. Lions are well known for their strength and ferocity and are often referred to as the king or queen of the jungle. While lions do not typically live in jungles, they are apex predators found in various habitats across Africa and parts of Asia. They are highly adaptable and can thrive in grasslands, savannas, and even mountainous regions. With males weighing up to 250 kilograms and females around 180 kilograms, lions are among the largest of the Felidae family. Their tawny-colored fur provides excellent camouflage in their natural habitat, and their muscular bodies are perfectly adapted for hunting and sprinting at speeds of up to 80 kilometers per hour. Lions typically hunt in groups, using teamwork and stealth to ambush their prey. They have been known to target a wide variety of animals, including zebras, wildebeest, giraffes, and buffaloes. However, their dietary preferences can vary depending on the location and availability of prey. In some cases, lions may scavenge carcasses if they are unable to find fresh prey. When it comes to Homo erectus, there is no direct evidence that lions actively hunted humans. However, given their predatory behavior towards other large mammals, it is possible that they may have targeted Homo erectus if the opportunity arose. Lions typically hunt during the night, while Homo erectus is believed to have been mostly active during the day. This difference in activity patterns may have reduced the chances of encounters between the two species. Furthermore, lions generally avoid confrontation with humans and are known to flee when confronted by humans. However, there may have been instances where lions felt threatened or were desperate for food, leading them to attack Homo erectus. But it wasn't just felines that were a threat. One of the largest land predators during the time of Homo erectus was the hyena. Hyenas are carnivorous mammals belonging to the family Hyenidae. There are 4 extant species of hyena: the spotted hyena, the striped hyena, the brown hyena, and the aardwolf. Spotted hyenas are the most numerous and widely distributed hyena species and are known for their distinctive black eye patches and brown fur. They are highly successful predators and are known for their scavenging habits. Spotted hyenas typically live in groups called clans, which can consist of up to several dozen individuals. They are highly social animals and have complex communication systems. Spotted hyenas are opportunistic feeders and will scavenge carcasses if the opportunity arises. They have been observed stealing kills from other predators, including lions and leopards. However, they are also capable of hunting down their own prey and have been known to target a wide variety of animals, including zebras, wildebeest, and buffaloes. There is no direct evidence that spotted hyenas actively hunted Homo erectus. However, given their scavenging habits and their tendency to steal kills from other predators, it is possible that they may have targeted Homo erectus if the opportunity arose. It wasn't all dangerous animals that Homo erectus had to worry about. One of the most surprising enemies of Homo erectus was the weather. Homo erectus lived in a wide range of climates, from tropical to temperate to even some colder regions. However, they did not possess the technology or the physiological adaptations to deal with extreme weather conditions. During the Ice Age, which began around 115,000 years ago, temperatures dropped significantly and ice sheets began to form in many parts of the world. This would have made it difficult for Homo erectus to find food and shelter. The cold weather would have also made it harder for them to stay warm and dry, which could have led to hypothermia and other health problems. Homo erectus would have had to migrate to more hospitable areas in search of food and shelter. This could have led to conflicts with other groups of Homo erectus and other human species, such as Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, who were better adapted to the cold. Homo erectus were hunter-gatherers, which meant that they relied on the environment to provide them with the resources they needed to survive. When the climate changed and food became scarce, they would have had to travel long distances in search of food and water. This would have been difficult because Homo erectus did not have the technology to build shelters or grow their own food. They were also not used to traveling long distances on foot. As a result, Homo erectus would have faced many challenges during the Ice Age, and it is possible that these challenges contributed to their eventual extinction. Thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on today's video? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to share and subscribe so you never miss an exciting episode. The tall dry grass is whispering secrets in the wind, but only the rustle of the leaves betray the approach of danger. The camera drifts closer to the ground, moving slowly between the golden blades that seem to sway unusually in the stillness of the afternoon. Suddenly, the movement stops. The lib male freezes, nostrils flaring as he catches the scent of something not quite right. His keen eyes narrow to slits, scan the tall grasses for the source of the disturbance. His hand, calloused and strong, tightens its grip on a rough stone that he uses as a weapon. The grass ripples again, revealing nothing, or perhaps concealing something dangerous. The camera holds on his taut frame, muscles bunching under his sun-baked skin, every sinew and tendon telling a story of a life lived close to the edge. His raw instinct and quiet determination hang heavy in the air, a testament to his resilience and strength in the face of the unknown. He moves now, stepping cautiously forward, each movement economical, controlled, a lifetime of experience in the wilderness etched into every crease of his neck and brow. The grasses bend under his weight, whispering their age-old secrets to the ground. The silence is thick with anticipation, the only sound the distant cry of a bird, startled into the air by the very tension of the moment. Then a flash of movement, a shape shifting in the tall grasses. The predator is revealed, a blur of muscle and fang and claw. The camera follows, keeping them in frame, the hunter and his prey, man and beast locked in a silent, timeless struggle. A guttural snarl rips through the stillness, echoing the turmoil in the hunter's chest. He is a force of nature, honed and tempered by countless battles against the elements and the creatures that prowl this land. His eyes, hard and sharp as flint, reflect the burning sun and the burning need for survival. With a Herculean effort, he lunges, his spear finding its mark. The beast recoils, a snarl still on its muzzle as it falls back from the thrust of the weapon. The hunter presses his advantage, driving his quarry back, forcing it to rely on its speed and agility to stay just out of reach of his spear. But the beast is tiring. Its heavy breathing betrays its exhaustion, its movements becoming slower, less graceful. The hunter senses its fatigue and red doubles his efforts. With a final surge of strength, he closes in, ending the struggle with a swift, decisive move. The spear finds its mark one last time, piercing the beast's shoulder, pinning it to the ground. The hunter stands over his fallen prey chest, heaving the fierce light of battle fading from his eyes, replaced by the calm satisfaction of the warrior who has once again secured his place in the circle of life and death. As the silence returns, heavier now with the weight of the struggle just past, the hunter turns away from the dying beast. His shoulders slump slightly, releasing the tension that has been coiling within him. He walks towards the setting sun, his silhouette a dark promise against the fiery sky. The grasses whisper their approval, their secrets shared only with the wind and the stars. And as the last rays of sunlight touch the horizon, the hunter disappears into the gathering darkness. Another day survived, another story earned. The camera lingers on the empty ground where the hunter stood, then slowly begins to pan away, taking with it the tension, the drama, the raw, untamed spirit of the chase. A lone hyena slinks out of the tall grass, her lean frame bristling, yellow eyes never leaving the small tribe of humans. Behind her, other shapes begin to shift in the tall grass, and she lets out a sharp bark, a sound that echoes the alarm in her own heart. More coming. She knows there are more. The humans are gathered around a small fire, and when they hear the approaching footsteps, they instinctively form a cluster, their bodies pressed shoulder to shoulder, their faces painted with the ochre of courage. They stomp their feet into the red dust, kicking up a small cloud that hangs in the air like a shroud. Stones rise in their trembling fists. Fear is a living thing in the air between them, as primal and as real as the hyenas themselves. She emerges fully into the firelight now, every muscle in her lean body tensed, ready to spring. She lets out a low growl, a sound that reverberates in the night, a sound that speaks of ancient battles and bloody kills. In the firelight, her teeth gleam like shards of ice, her eyes burn like hot coals. She is a creature of the night made flesh, a nightmare given form. The humans stand their ground though, their fear giving way to defiance. They are not prey animals, and they will not run. They will face whatever danger comes their way. A collective gasp escapes their lips as the hyena takes a step forward, as if daring them to stop her. She is the embodiment of their darkest fears, and yet they will not back down. Another hyena emerges from the tall grass, then another and another until there are at least a dozen of them, all eyes gleaming in the firelight, all bodies tensed and ready to strike. Their arrival is like a burst of static, an electric charge that crackles in the air, setting every nerve ending on fire. They are the apex predators of this land, and they have come to claim what is theirs by right. One of the humans throws a spear, not at one of the hyenas, but at the tall grass behind it, hoping to scare off whatever other creatures are hiding there. The spear flies true, disappearing into the swaying grass. The hyenas scatter, their eyes wide with alarm. For a moment, the humans think they have won, that they have driven the beasts away, but the victory is short-lived. The hyenas return, their numbers swelled by the newcomers, their eyes burning with a cold, hard light. The humans stand their ground though, their bodies pressed together, their weapons raised. They are trapped, surrounded by these creatures of the night, yet they will not surrender. They will fight to the last man, to the last breath. And so the battle rages, man against beast, fire against fang and claw. The hyenas are relentless, their attacks coming from all sides, their numbers too great, their strength too fierce. But the humans fight back, their courage burning bright, their determination forged in the fires of their desperation. As the night wears on, the battle becomes more desperate. The humans are exhausted, their weapons broken, their bodies battered and bruised. The hyenas press their attack, sensing victory, their growls echoing in the night, their laughter ringing in the air. The humans are on the edge of defeat, their last stand crumbling before the onslaught. But just when it seems all hope is lost, the hyenas hesitate. They are creatures of instinct, of immediate gratification, and their focus has shifted. There is something else in the night, something that has caught their attention, something that has made them forget about the humans altogether. The humans seize the moment, gathering their last reserves of strength, fighting back with the fury of the damned. They drive the hyenas away, their bodies broken and bleeding, their spirits battered and bruised. They have survived the night, but at what cost? Dawn breaks over the savannah, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson. The wind whispers through the tall grass, carrying with it the scent of blood and death. The tribe emerges from their shelter, their bodies stiff and sore, their eyes haunted by the horrors of the night. Around them, the savannah is littered with the bodies of their enemies, the hyenas who had attacked them in the night. But the victory is a hollow one, for they are not without their own losses. It's amazing to me how something as simple as a stumble can change everything. Here we see an elderly gentleman just trying to back away from an obviously dangerous situation. But as he does, his foot gets caught on a root and he falls backwards. Now, if this were to happen to you, you'd probably just brush yourself off and maybe even chuckle at how ridiculous that was. But this old man is in a desperate situation and every second counts. As soon as he falls, he knows he has to get up and get out of there fast. But as he begins to do so, a hyena pounces. This is one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen because it really seems like there is nothing this man can do to save himself. The hyena's jaws are wide open, its teeth bared, and it looks like it's going for the kill. At this point, I thought the man was definitely going to be killed right here. There's simply no way he could survive an attack like that from such a powerful predator. And his reaction, his eyes widening in fear, tells me just how well the hyena has set itself up for this ambush. It's almost as if it had to rehearse this attack, knowing exactly when to strike and catch him off guard. But then something unexpected happens. The man, with a burst of adrenaline and sheer willpower, manages to scramble away just in the nick of time. If he had been even a fraction of a second slower, the hyena would have had him. But now we see the hyena realizing it has missed its chance. It looks like it's growling in frustration, upset that it didn't get its prey. This encounter really makes me think about how nature works. Even in the face of certain death, instinct and desperation can drive an animal, in this case a human, to find a way to survive. And sometimes that means doing something extraordinary, like the man did here, to escape a life-threatening situation. It also shows me how smart and patient predators like hyenas are. They know how to set themselves up for success and capitalize on even the smallest of mistakes. But what do you think? How do you think the man managed to escape such a close call? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this clip, stay tuned for more just like it. Thank you for watching. See you next time. This is the moment when humans and animals become one. The lion had crept closer and closer over the course of the previous night, drawn by the scent of blood and the sound of desperate cries. Now he was close enough to hear the pleas of the trapped young male, but the lion didn't attack. Instead, he let out a deafening roar, a challenge, a demand. And then he waited. As first light began to touch the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amber and rose, the young male knew he had only one shot. With every fiber of his being, he forced himself to his feet, adrenaline surging through his veins, heart pounding a wild tattoo against his ribs. He had to get away, to escape the clutches of both the lion and the hyenas. With a burst of speed, he dashed forward, weaving between the startled hyenas, their surprised yips echoing in his ears. He could feel the lion's hot breath on his neck, the creature's massive paws pounding the ground, its frustrated roar reverberating in his bones. But the young man had a trick up his sleeve. Just as the lion prepared to pounce, he stumbled, falling forward, feigning injury. This was his last-ditch effort, a desperate gamble. And for a moment, it seemed to work. The lion hesitated, his predatory instincts screaming at him that this was a trap, yet his curiosity got the better of him. Slowly, cautiously, he approached the fallen young man, each step deliberate, his eyes never leaving the motionless form on the ground. As the lion drew closer, his massive head looming over the young man, the hyenas closed in as well, their grins filled with sharp teeth, their eyes gleaming with malicious intent. The circle of death was complete, but just as the lion was about to deliver the fatal blow, another male stepped forward, his face twisted with desperation. In a last-ditch effort to save his companion, he hurled a stone. The rough weapon arced through the dusty air, catching the hyena's muzzle. Blood sprayed into the grasses, a grotesque fountain of red against the golden hues of dawn. The beast reeled, snarling in agony, the pack faltering. The male's chest heaves as he brandishes another stone, ready to throw again. For a fleeting moment, tension hangs heavy in the air, thicker than the dust that swirls around their feet. Then, in a burst of movement, the young man is back on his feet and racing away as fast as his legs can carry him. He doesn't stop running even when the lion doesn't pursue him, even when the hyena's frustrated yelps fade into the morning chorus. He runs until his lungs burn and his muscles scream in protest, until the image of the lion's golden eye burns into his eyelids. When he finally stops, it's to lean against a nearby tree, his whole body trembling with exertion and fear. As the adrenaline ebbs away, leaving behind a dull ache and profound exhaustion, he allows himself a shaky breath, the taste of victory sweet on his tongue. He survived the night, outsmarted the lion and the hyenas, and that in itself is a triumph worth savoring. The rising sun paints the sky in vibrant colors, a stark contrast to the darkness of the night. The young man looks up at it, a small smile touching his lips. He is alive. As the new day dawns, He knows he must carry the memory of those lost during the night, the ones who didn't make it out alive. Their absence will be a constant ache in his heart, a reminder of the fragility of life. But he also carries with him the pride of his survival, the knowledge that he did all he could to protect his own. The lion and the hyenas may prowl the night, but he will face the rising sun with newfound courage, ready to embrace whatever challenges the day may bring. I'm gonna get this out of the way right now. Yes, it is hot. Yes, it is dusty. Yes, I am uncomfortable. But ain't that the best time for storytelling? When your tribe is gathered close, panting, body slick with sweat and dust, eyes locked on the tall grass that ripples in the hot wind. We had followed the hyenas for over an hour, hoping for action. And finally, as the sun beat down on us, turning the world into a shimmering haze, we found what we were looking for. A lone zebra lay on the ground, its legs pinned by two hyenas. One was tearing into the exposed flesh with its teeth bared in a snarl. The other was keeping watch, growling at anything that got too close. But as we watched, the third member of their clan arrived, and we knew we were about to see something special. Something that would make this one of those days that you tell stories about around the campfire. The first hyena must have sensed the arrival of its clanmate, because it let out a snarl and backed away from its meal. The second hyena kept watch while the third joined the first in a ritualized display of aggression. They snarled and snapped at each other, posturing, taking turns backing off and advancing, always keeping just out of range of the other's snapping jaws. It was clear to us that they were fighting over the kill. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife as we sat there watching, mesmerized by their angry dance. Suddenly, the first hyena took off like a cannon shot, bursting out of the tall grass and racing away as fast as it could go. We could hear its heavy breathing and see its whole body shaking with exertion and anger. It disappeared into the tall grass as quickly as it had come. The remaining two hyenas stared at each other for a moment, then broke into a run, chasing after their fleeing clanmate. We sat in stunned silence, not moving, not speaking, not even breathing, watching as the tall grass hid the three hyenas who had been fighting over the kill. What had started as a tense standoff had escalated into a full-on chase. After a while, we started to hear movement in the grass again. First, a twig snapped, then another, and then we saw them. One by one, the hyenas came bounding out of the tall grass, shaking themselves like dogs and then disappearing back into the tall grass. We could hear them calling to each other, chattering away in their strange language. As the last hyena disappeared from sight, we let out a breath we didn't know we were holding. The tension lifted and we were left feeling drained and exhausted, but it was worth it. We had witnessed something truly special. And now here we were, gathered together in a circle, sharing stories about our day. The fire crackled and popped, sending sparks flying into the night sky. The stars twinkled above us, casting their light on our tired faces. One of the warriors spoke up, his voice raspy with exhaustion. They were like snakes, those hyenas, all coiled up, ready to strike. Another one, his eyes gleaming in the firelight, added, like hyenas always fight over the kill. They never share. Someone else, younger, spoke with awe in his voice. The way they moved, silent and deadly, like ghosts in the grass. It was amazing. We sat in silence for a moment, each of us lost in our own thoughts, reliving the events of the day. Finally, the leader broke the silence. His voice was low and gravelly. We are lucky. We were able to drive them off, and the young ones were safe. He looked at each of us in turn, his eyes searching ours. We will need to be cautious. The hyenas will be back. We all nodded, understanding the gravity of his words. The hyenas would be back, and next time they might not be so easily driven off. The memory of their ghostly presence in the tall grass, the feeling of dread that had settled over us, The knowledge that we had survived by the slimmest of margins, it would stay with us for a long time. As the fire burned down and the night wore on, we told stories and sang songs, keeping each other company in the darkness. The events of the day still fresh in our minds, we huddled together for warmth and comfort, drawing strength from each other's presence. A sweeping panoramic shot of the savannah hours later shows dark storm clouds boiling over the pale sky. The wind stirs violently, bending acacia branches. The tribe moves with urgency, eyes wide, the infant whimpering softly against its mother. The golden grass turns gray under shadow. The mood is for warning, as if nature itself conspires against them. They've been walking for what feels like a very long time. The old woman, Nala, limps along, leaning heavily on her gnarled walking stick. Her cloudy gaze seems distant, as if the effort of walking is too much for her old bones. But it's not just the physical strain. It's something in the air, something in the way the light filters through the gathering gloom that troubles her. She can feel it in her bones, a deep primal instinct honed by years of living in tune with the rhythms of the savannah. A storm is coming. Not just any storm, but one that rumbles with a power that belies its distant rumble. Beside her walks a young warrior, barely a man, yet his shoulders bear the responsibility of leadership thrust upon him by the whims of fate. His name is Keto, son of the chief. His father is gone, taken by the sickness that swept through the village like a hungry hyena, leaving him to lead his people into the unknown. He glances back at the shrinking village, his heart heavy with the burden of responsibility. His mother's wise eyes, his father's strong jaw, they all stare back at him, silently urging him to be worthy. The wind picks up, carrying with it the sun of rain and dust. The sky, once a clear expanse of blue, now wears a bruised purple, heavy with impending doom. Keto tightens his grip on his spear, his knuckles turning white. The storm, it mirrors the turmoil in his soul, the fear, the uncertainty, the anger. Why them? Why now? The questions echo in his mind, finding no answers in the wind's mournful song. The storm breaks when they are still a good distance from the river. Fat raindrops splatter on the parched earth, each drop exploding into a miniature geyser. Within minutes, the downpour turns to a torrential deluge, turning the dry riverbed into a raging torrent. They press on, battling not just the elements, but their growing despair. With each step, the hope of rescue recedes, replaced by the stark reality of their fate. Lightning splits the sky, momentarily banishing the gloom and revealing the grim faces of the fleeing villagers. Thunder roars its approval, shaking the very foundations of their world. In the flickering light of the lightning, Nala's face, etched with worry, stands out. She raises her head, her cloudy eyes unclouded for a moment, as she utters a prayer to the spirits, a plea for mercy, for guidance. The lightning strikes again, and for a moment, Keto sees not just a storm, but a message, a sign, a promise. He sees the determination hardening in his own eyes, the quiet strength in the bowed heads of his people. As the night deepens, the storm reaches its crescendo, wind screaming, rain slashing, thunder booming. But as quickly as it started, it's over. The clouds part, revealing a sky full of stars. The wind whispers through the trees, a lullaby after the storm. The river, swollen but not overflowing, reflects the starlight, a path illuminated in the darkness. Hope, fragile as a newborn bird, flutters in Keto's chest. They are still alive. They have made it through the worst of it. He looks at the faces around him, their skin glistening with sweat and rain, their eyes shining with a newfound resolve. Together, they have weathered the storm. And in the shared experience, their bonds are strengthened, their spirits lifted. As the first rays of dawn touch the horizon, painting the sky with hues of rose and gold, the tribe, led by Keto, begins the long trek home. The river, once a life-giving lifeline, now a treacherous barrier. But they have no choice. The spirit has spoken. Their only hope lies across the raging waters. A lone warrior stands silhouetted against a backdrop of fire and fury. Flames leap and flicker, illuminating his fierce visage. His name is Toad, and he is the last of his tribe. Or perhaps he was the first. Time has blurred the edges of memory. All he knows is that he is alone, utterly alone in a world that is turned upside down. The sky, a bruised purple, weeps a torrent of rain that mingles with blood in the dirt. Lightning splits the horizon, a jagged crack in the belly of the storm. It strikes a lone tree. Flames erupt, licking hungrily at the darkening sky, red against the black. The wind, the storm wind lashes, carrying the scent of ozone and wet leaves and something else, something primal and terrifying. Smoke and rain mix in a heady brew, obscuring the world in gray. The flickering flames cast grotesque shapes on the surrounding trees, making them dance like demons in the fading light. He recoils instinctively, a low growl rumbling in his throat. Fear, naked and raw, echoes in the space between his ribs. He wants to flee, to run and hide from the wrath of the sky, but his feet are rooted to the spot. He is a statue carved from granite, forever frozen in silent screams. In the distance, a flicker of movement. Another lone figure emerges from the gloom, silhouetted against the inferno, their face obscured by the smoke and ash. They move with a fluidity that belies the ferocity of the storm, their steps sure-footed as they navigate the treacherous terrain. As they draw closer, the firelight dances in their eyes, revealing the wild glint of steel. A spear, held loosely in a hand that seems to beckon, inviting, taunting, daring him to make a move. Terror, sharp and sudden, shoots through him. It claws at his throat, making it hard to breathe, harder still to scream. But a sound does break the heavy silence, a cry that is both animal and human, a primal shriek of terror and defiance. It splits the night and the earth trembles in response. They flinch as if struck, the warrior and the storm. The man stumbles, regaining his balance with a muttered curse. His gaze, sharp and unwavering, fixes on Tote, and in that moment, Tote sees not just a man, but an embodiment of the storm itself, a living, breathing manifestation of the elements. He turns to flee, but his legs refuse to obey. They are leaden, weighted, anchored to the ground by an unseen force. He is trapped, paralyzed by fear as the man advances, his spear held high like a javelin aimed at the heart of the storm. The world shrinks. The forest fades away until all that remains is the fire and the fury and the relentless drumming of the rain. He feels exposed, utterly vulnerable, his defenses crumbling in the face of the elemental onslaught. The spear, tipped with a wickedly honed blade, glints in the firelight, promising pain and oblivion. With a Herculean effort, he forces himself to turn, to face the man, to meet his fate head-on. In the depths of his despair, a new feeling stirs, a spark of defiance, a refusal to be cowed by the fury of the storm. He will not run. He will not hide. He will stand his ground and face whatever comes next. The man hesitates, surprise flickering across his face. He lowers his spear slightly, as if in acknowledgement of Tote's newfound resolve. The silence stretches, taut and heavy, broken only by the roar of the flames and the relentless drumming of the rain. And then, as suddenly as it began, the storm abates. The lightning recedes, the thunder fades, and the rain slows to a gentle patter. The clouds in the sky begin to drift apart, revealing the first tentative stars of the night. A sliver of moon peeks through the parting clouds, casting a pale light on the scene. The man lowers his spear, sheathing the blade with a soft thud. He steps forward, no longer a menacing specter, but a fellow traveler in the vast wilderness. He offers Toad a hand, his face still obscured by the shadows of his hood. "Are you hurt?" he asks, his voice gruff but kind. Tote stares at the hand offered to him, then at the face still shrouded in darkness. He doesn't know if he can trust this man, this being who seems to have emerged from the very heart of the storm. But something in the man's demeanor, the gentle tilt of his head, the questioning look in his eyes, compels him to take that leap of faith. He reaches out and takes the man's hand, and in that moment, the firelight flares, momentarily banishing the shadows and revealing the full force of the connection they have forged in the crucible of the storm. They had come to the forest for answers, not this. A tight medium shot of a young male who crouches down, shielding his face with his arm, clutching a burning branch that he'd torn from the flaming tree. The rain hisses on the bark, but the fire survives. He looks up, eyes wide with fear yet wonder, as he instinctively lifts it aloft. The flame flickers, casting an eerie glow on his determined young face framed by the storm's fury. The others stare at him, caught between terror and hope. A beat of silence. Then the girl steps forward. She takes the branch from him, shielding her face with her own hair. She turns back to the villagers, lifts her chin, her silhouette outlined against the flames. "We have to do something," she says urgently. "If we don't, they will kill us all." Her voice cracks with emotion. "I'm sorry," she says, looking back at the boy. "I know this is crazy, but we need your help." She turns back to the villagers, meeting their gazes one by one. "There's no other way." A wide shot of the clearing. The villagers hesitate, fear etched on their faces. They exchange uneasy glances, each lost in thought. Some shake their heads slowly, the gravity of the decision dawning on them. Others nod, their faces grim, accepting their fate. The weight of their silence hangs heavy in the air, punctuated only by the crackling fire and the relentless rain. The camera focuses on the boy, a myriad of emotions crossing his face. Confusion, fear, determination. He looks from the girl to the villagers and back again. He doesn't understand the gravity of what's happening, but he senses the danger. He reaches out towards the girl, wanting to help, to protect her. She shakes her head gently, her eyes filled with gratitude and understanding. She knows that he doesn't know what to do. She looks back at the villagers, her gaze unwavering. "Please," she whispers, her voice hoarse. "We have to do this." She turns back to the boy, her expression softening. "You stay here with me," she says softly, placing a hand on his shoulder. "It'll be all right," she promises, though her eyes betray her uncertainty. A medium close-up of the girl. Her face is streaked with dirt and rain, her eyes shining with determination. She takes a deep breath, steeling herself for what lies ahead. With a final glance back at the boy, she turns and walks toward the villagers, disappearing into the darkness beyond the firelight. A wide shot of the village square. The villagers move restlessly, their faces illuminated by flickering torches. Whispers spread like wildfire, mixing with the crackle of the flames and the distant rumble of thunder. The girl stands before them, her silhouette a beacon in the gloom. She raises her hands, palms out, seeking their attention. As she begins to speak, her voice echoing in the stillness, the villagers fall silent, hanging on her every word. A close-up of the boy. His face, smudged with dirt, reflects the dancing flames. Fear and determination battle in his eyes. He clutches the remaining burning branch, its warmth a small comfort in the gathering darkness. The villagers' murmured words reach him, weaving a tapestry of fear and urgency that he can't quite comprehend. A medium shot of the girl. She paces restlessly, her voice shaking with suppressed emotion. "We have to fight," she says, her eyes blazing with newfound resolve. "We have no choice." The villagers stir, their faces etched with apprehension and grim determination. They exchange nervous glances, their whispers growing louder. The weight of her words hangs heavy in the air. A wide shot of the clearing. The villagers surge forward, their movements a torrent of conflicting emotions. Some recoil, paralyzed by fear. Others push forward, driven by desperation. Their faces are a canvas of terror and defiance. As the girl turns to the boy, her expression pleading, the camera zooms in on his face. In that moment of raw vulnerability, the boy's eyes widen with understanding. The chaos around him fades away, leaving only the girl's desperate gaze. In that instant, he makes his decision. With newfound purpose, the boy runs towards the raging fire, the burning branch held high. His small frame silhouetted against the inferno, he leaps into the air, his face alight with a fierce determination. The villagers watch, their breaths held captive by the drama unfolding before their eyes. The girl's face, streaked with dirt and rain, is filled with admiration and gratitude. The fire roars, and for a moment, all is consumed by its hungry embrace. Then, as quickly as it began, it's over. The boy stands amidst the smoldering ruins, the burning branch lying at his feet. The villagers erupt in cheers, their voices echoing in the night. The girl, her eyes shining with unshed tears, rushes to him, enveloping him in a tight hug. In that moment of shared triumph, they stand together, two figures silhouetted against the dying embers of the fire. A wide shot at dawn. The storm has passed, but its impact remains. The tall grasses of the savannah are drenched, stripped, and broken. The acacia trees lean broken. Their protective canopies, once so proud, now lie in shreds at the feet of the weary travelers. Scattered about are the baobab trees too, their massive trunks toppled over, their fibrous roots clawing at the sky. The torrential rains have washed away the protective covering of the earth, leaving it raw and vulnerable. In the distance, a muddy river snakes through the devastated landscape. As the sun begins to rise, our focus narrows. We see the tribe now, trudging weakly across the soaked earth. They are soaked to the bone, empty-handed, their stomachs growling louder than their fears. Up close, we see the toll the storm has taken. Their hides are caked in mud, their bodies bruised and bleeding from the struggle to escape the wrath of nature. The once vibrant colors of their garments are now dull and lifeless, mirroring the devastation that surrounds them. The mood is one of exhaustion and hunger, pressing harder than fear. Fear is something they've known for many moons, something they've lived with and learned to navigate. But this is something different. This is a fear of the unknown, a terror born of an empty stomach, and the uncertainty of what the coming day will bring. The woman walks ahead, her eyes fixed on the path. Her steps are slow, her shoulders slumped, the weight of the world seemingly pressing her down into the mud. Her hands, once so graceful, now hang limp by her sides, her fingers curled inwards as if reaching for something, anything to pull her forward. Her feet, once so light, now drag heavily with each step, sinking deeper and deeper into the mire. Her ankles are twisted at unnatural angles, her toes spread wide, grasping at the slippery terrain. Her legs, once so strong, now tremble with fatigue, threatening to buckle beneath the burden she carries. Her chest heaves with each labored breath, her ribs stark against her taut skin, a testament to the toll that hunger and exhaustion take on her frail body. Her head, once held high, now bows under the weight of despair. Her hair, once a crown of glory, hangs in disarray around her face, framing eyes that are dull with fatigue and defeat. Her lips, once so full and vibrant, are now parched and cracked, a reflection of the thirst that burns within her very soul. The man follows close behind, his gaze fixed on the ground. His shoulders are hunched, his eyes downcast, his steps faltering. He stumbles, not from fear, but from exhaustion, his limbs heavy with fatigue. He reaches out, not to strike, but to steady himself, to find purchase on the treacherous terrain. His muscles, once so powerful, now shake with exhaustion, threatening to give way under the strain. His hands, once so sure and strong, now tremble, their strength ebbed away by hunger and hardship. His chest, once proud and expansive, is now a shallow cage, his breaths coming in short, sharp gasps that do little to ease the burning in his throat. His face, once so handsome, is gaunt and haggard, his features etched with the harsh lines of survival. His lips, once so expressive, are now thin and compressed, his teeth gritted together in a silent snarl that speaks of his inner turmoil. His eyes, once so full of life and laughter, are now dark and sunken, reflecting the endless abyss of despair that threatens to consume him. They walk on, driven by the hope of finding something, anything to ease their pain. The storm may have passed, but its aftermath threatens to destroy them. A wide shot of the river. It is not an inviting scene. The water is brown, the color of fresh blood. It roars, it churns. It seems to be boiling with some dark energy. Debris of all shapes and sizes swirls around in its currents. Logs, rocks, tree branches, even the carcass of a dead horse is swept along by its relentless flow. White foam froths and bubbles over the rocks. Fish leap frantically, their scales flashing silver in the sun. Their desperate leaps, however, only serve to enrage the river further, and more fish are pulled under its churning depths. The camera now focuses on a group of people standing on the bank. They are a primitive tribe, their bodies painted with tribal tattoos, their expressions fierce and wild. Their eyes are narrowed, their gazes fixed on the river, their lips pulled tight as if meant to growl. They are hungry, but more than hunger. There is something primal, something ancient driving them. This is not just about food. It's about survival. It's about dominating the elements, about subduing the fury of nature. The men shift impatiently. One of them takes a step forward, then another. They edge closer to the raging torrent, mesmerized by its power and what it might bring. The camera follows, mimicking the movements of the men, always keeping the river in frame, always emphasizing the danger, the threat posed by this natural phenomenon. Another wide shot, this time from a different angle. The river is still the central focus, but now we see more of its surroundings. Lush green vegetation, tall trees forming a canopy overhead, creating an almost primeval atmosphere. The sound of the river is deafening, drowning out any other sounds, making it clear that this is the only reality that matters right now. As the men move closer, the camera zooms in on their faces, capturing their determination, their fear, their sweat, their painted tribal tattoos, now glistening with moisture. One man raises his spear, his muscles bunching under his taut skin. He takes aim at the churning water, ready to strike. The others follow his lead, their spears pointed towards the river, their bodies tensed and poised for action. But before they can strike, the camera pans away, revealing the full force of the river. It is a wall of water and debris barreling towards them, a wall that threatens to wipe out everything in its path. The men are caught off guard, their attack aborted. They scramble back, desperately seeking higher ground. The river crashes over the rocks, sending spray and debris flying. The men are drenched, but they stand their ground, their bodies shaking with adrenaline and fear. The water level rises, the river claiming more and more of the bank. The men are trapped, the river cutting them off from the safety of the land. Slowly, the water recedes, leaving behind a mess of debris and destruction. The men, battered but unbroken, regroup. They look at each other, their eyes now filled with a mix of fear and determination. They know they cannot escape the river's fury, but they also know they must do something, anything to survive. The camera lingers on their faces, capturing their exhaustion, their wounds, their determination. It is a study in contrast, the brutality of the river against the fragility of human life, the power of nature versus the will to survive. Then, as if sensing the end, the camera pans up, giving a wider view of the river and the sky above. The clouds are dark, the sky brooding, mirroring the turmoil of the river below. The men are small figures dwarfed by the immensity of the natural world around them. They raise their spears one last time, not in attack, but in surrender, in recognition of the awesome power of the river, a power that has defeated them for now. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is something that happens in real life. A guy went viral for rescuing a kid who was being swept away by a strong current. But what people don't know is this actually happened in Australia in 2017. And there is a part 2 to this story that is even more intense. Let me explain. We go low angle, close shot on our young male protagonist. The water swirls around his thighs as he struggles to keep his footing. With the current, he lunges forward, hands outstretched, trying to grab at a fish that's leaping and playing in the shallows. The current is stronger than he thought. It pulls at his legs, yanks him forward. His face twists in panic as he drops to his knees in the water. He slips deeper, headfirst into the hole. There's a powerful vertical shot of the churning water swallowing him whole. The current is relentless, dragging him further out to sea. He screams, the sound snatched away by the wind. As onlookers watch in horror, 2 men race across the rocks to try and help him. But the water's edge seems a long way off now. Just when it looks like he might be pulled under, one of the men reaches him. He grabs hold of the youth's hoodie, yanks him back towards the safety of the shore. Coughing, spluttering, the boy is pulled from the water. The drama over, we pan out to reveal a vast pounding surf. The water here is wild, almost otherworldly with its immense power. It is a constant force that can easily sweep you off your feet and drag you down into its churning depths. A close-up on a pair of bare feet, then a wider shot as a man runs full throttle across the rocks, slipping and sliding in his desperate race to the sea. Wind whips at his face, salty sprays stinging his eyes. He dives in, the water temperature shockingly cold, even to a seasoned swimmer like himself. He struggles against the current, fighting to stay afloat. The churning water threatens to pull him under. From above, another man calls out to him, his voice almost lost to the wind. Grab my hand, grab my hand. Our man reaches for the other man's outstretched hand, but the current yanks him away again. He's dragged further out to sea, the water temperature sapping the heat from his body, slowing his movements. Panic constricts his chest. He's not a strong swimmer, and the vastness of the ocean, the immensity of the churning, rolling waves, it all threatens to overwhelm him. He remembers the look on the young boy's face, the terror etched into every feature as the current had pulled him under. He wouldn't let that happen to this guy, not if he could help it. Summoning every last ounce of his strength, he fights against the current, keeping his head just above the water. And then he sees it, a patch of sand close to the shore. With a final burst of energy, he kicks out, using every muscle in his body to propel himself forward. He collapses onto the sand, gasping for breath, the wind snatching his words away. But the other man is there. He helps the struggling swimmer back to his feet. Together they run from the water, collapsing onto the rocks, both men shivering uncontrollably. The boy is safe now, wrapped in a blanket, sipping hot chocolate. He looks out at the pounding surf, the same wild, churning water that had almost taken him. He owes his life to these 2 men, he knows that. But they shake their heads when he tries to thank them. It was nothing, they say, just helping a mate. And in that moment, he understands that some things are bigger than fear, bigger than the water, bigger than anything. Mateship, courage, and kindness. Thanks for watching. If you like this, please subscribe. A group of friends go for a swim in the river during a hot summer day, but they quickly find out that the water has a strong undercurrent, and one of them gets into trouble. Can you save your friend from drowning? The man in the red shirt struggles in the water, his face pale and eyes wide with terror as he is being pulled further away from the bank. His 4 friends react instantly. Without hesitation, the closest one jumps into the water, but the current is strong and he's quickly swept downstream. The 3 remaining friends form a chain, each gripping the wrist of the person next to them, bracing themselves against the raging current. Their faces are etched with determination and fear as they pull with all their might. But the current is relentless, pulling at their comrades like a relentless beast. As the man in red gets farther and farther away, the fourth guy lets go with a final desperate cry, his face a mask of anguish as he watches his friend disappear into the swirling waters. The three remaining men struggle valiantly against the current, their muscles straining, their eyes wide with the effort, but the river seems to be winning the battle. One of the men utters a silent prayer, his voice lost in the roar of the water as the current begins to pull him away from his companions. But just when it seems like all hope is lost, a miracle happens. From upstream, a group of people notice the struggling figures and come to help. More hands means more strength, and together they manage to pull the men out of the water one by one. The last link in the chain, the man in the blue shirt, collapses onto the ground, his body trembling from the effort as the others help pull him to safety. As they make their way to shore, the full weight of their ordeal hits them. The man who is almost lost shivers uncontrollably, his teeth chattering as he tries to warm himself. The others gather around, their faces etched with concern. The man in the blue shirt looks up at them, his eyes filled with gratitude. Despite the danger they've all faced, there's a sense of relief and camaraderie among them. They survived the river's fury, their unity tested, and their bonds of friendship strengthened. They make a solemn promise to stick together, vowing that no matter what challenges lie ahead, they will face them as a team. As the sun begins its slow descent, casting long shadows across the riverbank, the friends gather closer, finding comfort in each other's presence. The ordeal has shaken them, reminding them of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing every moment. Suddenly, the man in the red shirt, who had been silent until now, speaks up. His voice is hoarse, but his words are filled with newfound determination. He thanks his friends for saving his life, admitting that he had been scared and thought he would drown. But it was their courage and quick reactions that had pulled him back from the brink. Tears well up in his eyes as he realizes the depth of their friendship and the preciousness of their bond. Touched by his words, the others reach out, their hands finding each other in a gesture of solidarity. They share stories and jokes, the tension of the day giving way to laughter and camaraderie. The incident has forged an unbreakable bond between them, a reminder that true friendship can conquer even the most challenging of circumstances. As the night deepens, they make plans to honor their friendship, to remember the day the river almost took one of them, but couldn't break the unbreakable bond they shared. Together, they face the darkness, finding strength and solace in their unity, knowing that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, forever bound by the ordeal they had survived. A group of men struggle to haul a young male from a capsized boat onto the riverbank. He gasps for air, water spilling from his mouth as they pull him closer. Exhaustion and relief mingle on his face. The other men in the boat have already collapsed around him. The camera follows as one of them rolls over onto his stomach, his rear end in the air. Another sprawls on his back with his legs akimbo. A third sits slumped against the hull, his head lolled back, eyes staring blankly at the sky. Their boat, a battered wooden fishing vessel, is overturned in the shallows, its occupants spent and dispirited. The young man they are trying to haul out is no more than 18 or 20 years old. His muscles, taut and glistening with sweat and exertion, speak of a life lived on the water. His face, streaked with mud, is creased with the effort of trying to speak, his words tumbling over each other as if in a dream. "Don't leave me," he pleads, reaching out a hand as if to grasp something, anything, to steady himself. "I can't swim," but they have no choice. There isn't anyone else around to help, and the four men who had been in the boat with him, their faces drawn and haggard, have already succumbed to the merciless sun and the crushing weight of their ordeal. One of the men tries to sit up, but another grabs his shoulder, pulling him back down into the water. "Leave me alone," the young man cries out, struggling against those who try to hold him under. "I want to go home." He thrashes about, desperate to free himself, but their grip is relentless. "Let me go," he screams, his voice cracking. "Let me go, and I will bring you all back some mangoes." It's not clear if they can hear him, though, or if they care. All they seem to want is the water. They drag him closer now, and he looks down at the infant in the boat, cradled securely in a corner. He watches with wide, uncomprehending eyes as the men struggle to get him out of the water. Then one of the men reaches out, scoops him up, and pulls him close. "It's all right," he murmurs, his voice hoarse. "We got you." The young man shudders, pressing his body against the other man's, as if seeking refuge in his strength. But there's no solace here, only the cold, hard facts of their dire situation. They are trapped, exhausted, and at the mercy of the elements. As the camera continues to linger on the infant, it becomes clear that this moment, this tableau of suffering and resilience, is being imprinted on his mind. What does it mean for a child to witness such hardship? How will it shape his understanding of the world? And what does it say about humanity, about our capacity for endurance and our will to survive? These are universal stories that speak to our shared experiences as human beings. We see ourselves in these characters and their struggles and their triumphs. We feel their pain, their fear, their desperation, and we celebrate their courage, their resilience, their refusal to give up in the face of overwhelming odds. These stories stay with us long after we finish watching them. They challenge us, they inspire us, they make us think about the world in new ways. And that is the power of storytelling. That is why we tell stories and why we listen to them. They come for us. They come for our camp, US. Who's coming? Look, there they are. Across the river, another band of Homo erectus. They are coming. There are more of them than us. They're bigger than us. They're stronger than us. We're gonna need a war plan. Now, what do? We have to stop them. We must be strong like the cedars. Stand firm, that's it. We will stand firm. Hey, what's going on down there? You okay? Hey, I need you to get up here. Come on, what's happening? They're coming into our territory. They're stealing our food. Hey, man, I want you to go get the others. Tell them it's time to fight. Tell them it's time to be warriors. We gotta protect what's ours. Yeah. Hey, woman, I need you to take the children and hide with the others. We're gonna need every able body to defend our camp. Understood. All right, let's go. They come for us. They come for our camp. Who are they? Who is coming? Look, there they are. Across the river, another band of Homo erectus. They're coming. There are more of them than us. They're bigger than us. They're stronger than us. We're gonna need a war plan. Now, what do? We have to stop them. We must be strong like the cedars. Stand firm. That's it. We will stand firm. Gather round, children. It's time for you to hear the story of how our ancestors took a stand against the giants who tried to steal their home. But before I begin, don't you dare take your eyes off the river. Do you hear that? They're coming. They're almost here. No, not there. Here, closer. They're right outside the camp. They want to steal our food. They want to hurt our people. So listen close. This is how we will fight back. My grandfather told me this story when I was just a babe. He said our ancestors were small in number, but mighty in spirit. When the giants came, they sent a message of peace. They offered a chance to coexist. But the giants, they wanted all of the land and all of the resources. They wouldn't share. They attacked. Our ancestors fought back with everything they had. With spears made of cedar wood and sharp rocks in their hands, they defended their homes and their families. They were outnumbered, but they were not outmatched. My grandfather said it was a battle for survival. The giants were big and strong, but our ancestors were quick and clever. They dodged the giants' clubs and spears, then struck back with all their might. They fought with the fury of the righteous. The battle raged for many hours. The ground shook with the force of their blows. The river ran red with the blood of the brave. But slowly, the tide began to turn. The giants, they were strong, but our ancestors, they were relentless. As the sun began its slow descent, the giants grew weaker. They were no match for the determination of those who fought for their families and their home. One by one they fell, and those who survived fled, taking their wounded with them. And so the ancestors had won. They had defended their way of life against the giants who sought to destroy it. Their victory was hard won, bought with the sweat of their brow and the blood of their people, but it was a victory nonetheless. A victory that allowed them to live on and pass their stories down through the ages. And that, my children, is how we became the masters of this land. Not by might, but by right. Not by brute force, but by unity, courage, and an unbreakable spirit. Remember this story, children, for it is a part of who we are. It is a part of our strength, and it is a part of our pride. Now let's go. It's time to fight. It's time to be warriors. It's time to defend our home. Go, go, go. Hit them. Get them. Get them. Go. Hit them. Go, go. Hit them. Get them. Get them. Go, go. Hit them. Get them. Get them. Go, go. Hit them. Get them. Get them. Go. They don't stand a chance. From the very first shot, we know this is going to be an intense sequence. We're looking at our two rival tribes locked in a standoff, each sizing up the other, posturing, threatening, but nothing happening. There's a stillness in the air, a quiet tension building. It feels like we're about to get some kind of violent eruption, and then it happens. Suddenly, there's a rustle of movement just behind the yellow tribe. It's subtle, but enough for us to see, or maybe it's the movement that causes the eruption. Either way, whatever it was has sent the yellow tribe into a panic. They've barely had time to react before their world explodes into chaos. We are thrust into the action with a low-angle medium shot. All we can see is the leopard bursting out from the reeds behind them. We see the golden body arching through the air, jaws wide open in a silent roar. Its teeth are bared, ready to tear, to rend. The dust and water exploding around it is the only evidence that there even is a struggle. For all we can tell, this leopard could be fighting a blue whale, and we wouldn't be any less sure of the outcome. The sheer power of the predator is palpable. Our first close-up of our rival tribe shows us that they are indeed in a panic, thrashing about, roaring their defiance, yet completely helpless against this onslaught. Even the little ones are in danger here. This leopard isn't playing. It wants blood. But it gets better. From the side, we see the leopard's insane speed as it darts back and forth, weaving between the yellow tribe members, attacking anyone who dares come too close. One wrong move and it's over for them. The leopard's movements are so quick, so precise, there's no opportunity for escape, no chance of defense. All they can do is watch in terror as the predator circles, waiting for its next strike. The yellow tribe is completely surrounded. They're trapped like rats in a maze with a tiger, except there is no escape here, no outside forces to intervene. It's every man for himself and the leopard. There's nothing more primal, more intense than this. We're seeing the circle of life play out in real time, the food chain at its most basic, the struggle for survival. A low-angle shot of the leopard mid-lunge emphasizes its predatory grace. We see how powerful, how graceful these cats really are. It's a reminder that they are not just ferocious killing machines, but beautiful, efficient hunters. Back with the yellow tribe, one of them manages to break away, escaping through the tall grass. But where will he go? What can he do? He's alone now, separated from his people, unable to defend himself. The leopard spots him, eyes narrowed, muscles tensed. The chase is on. We follow the fleeing member of the Yellow Tribe, getting a sense of his desperation as he runs for his life. The leopard is gaining on him. We can see the determination in its eyes, the burning will to hunt, to kill. It's a cat possessed, driven by instinct, by hunger. As the Yellow Tribe member turns to face his pursuer, we see the inevitable outcome of this encounter. There's nowhere left to run, nowhere to hide. The leopard pounces and the screen fades to black. All around us, we hear the echoes of the struggle, the dying screams, the triumphant roars, the rustle of movement as the circle of life continues. The leopard has won this battle, but the war for survival goes on. A mother and her baby are running through the jungle. They're being chased by a leopard. Here we go. Let's just establish one thing right away. This is not a documentary. This is a dramatization. The mother stumbles in the mud. She's clutching her infant close. The leopard's claws rake the ground just inches behind her. Her face twists with sheer terror. She has no tears left to cry. Her body is pressed forward with every ounce of strength she can muster. The infant wails. Its small fists clench tight. The leopard is almost upon them. It snarls, its breath hot on the back of the woman's neck. She looks down at her child, then back at the relentless predator closing in fast. There's nowhere left to run. There's nowhere left to hide. The jungle gives them no respite. The leopard is a phantom of the trees. It seems to appear out of nowhere, moving with an uncanny swiftness and grace. And yet, it is the woman and the child who are the prey. The woman stumbles again. The baby slips from her grasp and she dives for it, scooping the child into her arms just as the leopard pounces. The two tumble over each other in a flurry of limbs and wild eyes. For a moment, they're all tangled up together, human and beast locked in a desperate struggle for survival. Then the leopard lunges again, knocking the baby from the woman's arms. The animal takes off, racing into the undergrowth with the infant dangling limply from its mouth. The woman lets out a scream that echoes through the trees, a primal sound of anguish and despair. She scrambles after them, her hands outstretched, her feet slipping on the treacherous terrain, but the leopard is too quick for her. It disappears into the thick foliage, taking her child with it. She emerges from the trees, her clothes torn and bloodied, her face a mask of dirt and anguish. In her arms, she holds only a clump of leaves and twigs. She collapses to her knees, overcome with grief, the last vestiges of hope draining away. All around her, the jungle seems to close in, as if sharing in her sorrow. The leaves rustle softly in the breeze, and for a moment she can almost hear the faint cry of her child. Then silence descends once more, heavy and oppressive. She cradles her empty arms close, her body racked with sobs. The sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows through the trees. The jungle noises begin their nightly chorus, and she is left there in the darkness, utterly alone. Meanwhile, the leopard emerges from the undergrowth. It carries the baby in its mouth, but it's not quite dead yet. The creature pauses for a moment, regarding its prey with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. The baby's cries have ceased. The leopard drops the infant to the ground and nudges it with its paw. The baby doesn't move. The leopard lets out a low growl, half a snarl, half a sigh. It turns and disappears back into the trees, leaving the dead child lying in the undergrowth. The next morning, the sun rises over the jungle, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson. The trees are silent, the leaves unmoving. A new day dawns, but for the mother, there will be no new life. She sits there, her eyes vacant, staring into the middle distance. Life flickers on around her, but she is beyond it now, lost in a world of grief and despair. The jungle, once a place of beauty and wonder, has become her prison. She is trapped there with her sorrow, condemned to relive the horror of the previous day over and over again. The leopard, the phantom of the trees, has claimed its prize. The hunt is over. The jungle, as always, has claimed another victim. When a pride of lions takes down a leopard, they don't always eat it. Sometimes they just kind of leave it there. And this is what happens when a mama leopard is left with nothing but her life and a few angry male relatives who want payback. This is one of those rare occasions when a pride of lions has left a leopard alive after a successful ambush. This leopard is clearly shaken up by the attack, but she is going to try to make her way out of the tall grass and get away from this pride. The problem is that these lions aren't letting her go without a fight. And now our little leopard is stuck between a rock and a hard place. She can't go forward because there is a lion blocking her way, and going backward could lead her right into the waiting jaws of another lion. So she decides to go for a sprint, darting forward, trying to make it past this first lion. But the big cat is having none of it. He absolutely unleashes on this leopard, sending her sprawling into the dirt. And both of these cats are definitely shaken up by the amount of force that was just displayed. But there is one thing that I've learned about leopards over the years, and that is that they are super resilient animals. Despite being sent sprawling into the dirt, the leopard is back on her feet in a flash, shaking off the attack and trying to make another run for it. This time she tries to sneak past the second lion, but he is not having it. Once again, she finds herself surrounded by these big male lions, and they are really angry at her for being here. Now, the space between these two lions is just too small for her to be able to fit through. She is absolutely trapped. These lions are starting to get a little bit uneasy, so they decide to move in a little bit closer and start to apply some pressure. You can tell that this leopard is starting to get a little bit nervous. She is going to try one more time to bolt, but this time the lions are ready for her. This will not end well. That's right. This pride of lions is taking turns absolutely wrecking this leopard, and we can't do anything about it. But there is no hope for her. The male lions are going to take turns attacking this leopard, and she is going to get absolutely obliterated. And once she gets back up, the lions are going to come at her again. And here comes one of the most unbelievable sights in all of nature. Mama Kin arrives on the scene and immediately starts hurling stones at the lions, trying to get them to leave her cub alone. A second and even a third kin come to the rescue, forming a near impenetrable wall of fur and rage between the leopard and these lions. The kin are bellowing, their throats raw with rage and fear, and their arms are raised high above their heads, brandishing stones like a small army of angry gods. In unison, they hurl their stones at the leopard, and one of them finds its mark, smashing into the leopard's skull. Bone cracks and blood sprays everywhere as the beast staggers backward, collapsing into the mud with a final shudder. The lions, startled by the sudden appearance of the kin and the injury to their quarry, pause, momentarily stunned by what has transpired before them. But they quickly shake off their surprise and regroup, their eyes still gleaming with predatory hunger. The krill, their job done, disappear as quickly as they had come, melting back into the tall grasses, leaving the lions to their feast. Meanwhile, the injured leopard, dazed and bleeding, struggles to rise, her movements sluggish and uncoordinated. But the lions, sensing an easy meal, pounce, and in a matter of seconds, the leopard is dead. Her life ebbing away as the lions tear into her body, their roars echoing across the savannah. And that's all the drama we have for you today. As always, thanks for watching. Silence. It's the only sound that can be heard after the chaos of battle. It hangs heavy, broken only by the gasps and heavy breaths of the wounded warriors. The clearing is a mess of blood and water, the remnants of the downpour still clinging to the tall grasses and broad leaves that shield the area from prying eyes. The mud is slick, reflecting the dim light of the oil lamp hanging from a nearby tree like a giant firefly. The hides of the tribesmen are drenched in rain, wind, and blood, glistening in the scant light. They stand frozen, staring at the massive carcass at the center of the clearing. The beast, barely moving now, its life essence seeping into the ground. Its jaws hang open, revealing the mangled remnants of their companion. One final shudder runs through its body, another soul taken by the darkness. One of the warriors coughs, the sound echoing in the sudden quiet. He looks at the others, his eyes wide and glistening with unshed tears. It's Tellen, the shaman's apprentice. Beside him, the elder shaman weeps openly, his face buried in his arms. He has seen much death, but this feels different. The warrior who had been their shield, their protector, lies dead, his spirit most likely lost to the darkness that birthed this monster. Who will protect them now? A choked sob breaks the silence. It's Laya, the healer. Her hands, usually so gentle and warm, now tremble with barely suppressed fear. She takes a step closer to the body, then another. The warriors instinctively part before her, their gazes dropping to the slick ground. She kneels beside the corpse, ignoring the blood that splatters on her arms, and paints her face a deeper shade of red. With trembling fingers, she reaches for the fallen warrior's neck, feeling for a pulse, for any sign of life. When she finds nothing but cold flesh and bone, she lets out a strangled cry that speaks of 1,000 unspoken fears. The warriors stir, their gazes flickering to the healer, then back to the dead warrior. Some shift uncomfortably, unable to meet anyone's gaze. Others rock forward as if trying to peer into the darkness that has stolen their champion. A low growl rumbles in the back of the crowd. It's Turak, his face a mask of barely contained rage. His eyes, usually warm and full of laughter, are now hard and cold, reflecting the flickering lamplight like chips of obsidian. He takes a step forward, then another, his gaze fixed on the fallen warrior. The shaman raises his head, his eyes filled with a deep sadness. "He is gone, Turak," he says, his voice hoarse with grief. "The darkness has taken him, just as it took our sister." Turak snarls, his teeth flashing in the gloom. He wants to deny it, to defy the shaman's words, but the truth is as plain as the blood that stains the warrior's armor. Slowly, ever so slowly, the warriors begin to stir. They exchange uneasy glances, their gazes flickering from the dead warrior to the shaman, then back again. They are afraid, yes, but they are also angry. And anger, the shaman knows, is a powerful motivator. Gently, he lays a hand on Turak's shoulder, grounding the young warrior to the present moment. "We are survivors," the shaman says, his voice low and resonant. "This is what we do. We survive." He looks at the fallen warrior one last time, then turns to face the others. "We will honor Kassan's sacrifice by continuing to live, by continuing to fight." The warriors stir, their gazes hardening with newfound resolve. Kazan may be gone, but they are not without hope. As long as they have each other, as long as they have their courage and their wits, they will survive. The darkness may have taken one of them, but it will not take all of them. They are survivors, they will endure. Slowly, the warriors begin to close in on the carcass, their gazes fixed on the massive form in front of them. The rain has stopped, leaving the clearing silent and still. The air is thick with the smell of blood and death, but also with something else, something ancient and powerful. The life essence of the slain warrior. In the center of the clearing, the warriors stand in a circle, their bodies tense, their gazes unwavering. They are ready to reclaim the life essence of their fallen comrade, to bring it back to the tribe. It is a dangerous ritual, one that could bring them closer together or tear them apart, but they have no choice. They must try. With a deep breath, they begin their chant, their voices rising and falling in a rhythmic cadence. The life essence writhes, sensing their intent, and fights to break free. But the warriors are strong. their bond unbreakable. Together, they pull the essence from the corpse, from the very earth itself. It is a struggle, but slowly, oh so slowly, they begin to gain the upper hand. As the first rays of dawn touch the horizon, the warrior's chant reaches a fever pitch. The life essence, now pure and radiant, soars from the clearing, returning to the sky from whence it came. The warriors watch, their faces illuminated by the soft glow, as the life essence weaves its way into the tapestry of the morning sky. When it is done, they are silent, awestruck by the beauty that has unfolded before their eyes. Around them, the forest stirs, awakening to the promise of a new day. The warriors turn to each other, their faces etched with the weariness of battle, but also with the dawning realization of what they have accomplished. They have survived the night. More importantly, they have honored their fallen brother. Now, as the sun climbs higher in the sky, they must turn their thoughts to the future. They are wounded, but they are not broken. They are afraid, but they are not defeated. They are survivors, and they will endure. From the ashes of the old world, a new beginning. And we start today with a low, wide shot at dusk. Our camera begins to pan across a circle of figures huddled around a small fire. They are our tribe. They sit in a loose circle, tearing strips of bitter meat from the carcass of a leopard. The kill is barely an hour old. The leopard, still warm, its breathing shallow and slow, is dragged into the center of the circle. Its snarling muzzle pointed skyward, its claws extended in a silent snarl. It is almost human in its posture, like a supplicant before the gods. The men and women of our tribe, stark and wild-eyed, tear chunks of flesh from its still living body. The sight is brutal, primal, a dance of death in the fading light. Suddenly, a woman cries out, drops the piece of meat she was gnawing on, and rushes to the edge of the circle. Her face, streaked with blood and dirt, is etched with fear. She cradles something in her arms, something small and very alive. The men stop their grim task and turn to her. The child, swaddled in a blanket, is crying. The woman shushes it, rocking gently, her voice hoarse. The child, still crying, is passed to another woman. She takes it, soothing words spilling from her mouth like water from a spring. The child quiets, but the moment is gone and the tearing of flesh begins again. In the center of the circle, the leopard's head is pushed between two rocks. Its amber eyes, wide and liquid, stare up at the darkening sky. One last shudder runs through its lean frame, and then it is still. Silence falls over the tribe. The men and women fall still, their faces illuminated by the dancing flames. For a long moment, they do not move. Then slowly, the men rise. They grab the spear and the axe, their weapons glinting in the firelight, and drag the leopard's carcass away. The women, their faces streaked with blood and mud, their eyes glowing with an inner fire, continue to feed the small ones. The fire crackles, the shadows dance, and the night grows colder. The dawn breaks, cold and gray, over the savannah. In the distance, the silhouette of a lone hunter is etched against the pale sky. He moves with the easy grace of one who knows this land intimately. His name is Kido, and he is the father of the child. The small one, safe in his wife's embrace, stirs in his sleep and reaches out chubby hands toward the fire. She smiles, her face creased with worry, and strokes his back. Kido joins them, his face grim. The hunt was not good. There is little meat for all of them, and the leopard, though magnificent, is not plentiful. But life must go on. And so they eat, tearing the warm flesh from the bones with their bare hands and teeth. The child gurgles happily, oblivious to the danger that still lurks in the tall grasses. The lion, its hunger unsated, will be back. And if the tribe is not ready, it will be all over in a flash of teeth and fire. But for now, the sun climbs higher in the sky, bathing the savannah in golden light. The child, full and warm, is placed beside the fire. He looks up at the dancing flames and gurgles. Keto picks up a sharp stone and begins to sharpen a spear point. Tomorrow, they must be ready for the lion. As the day wears on, the tribe prepares for the coming battle. The men sharpen their spears, their faces grim. The women gather around the small fire, their voices low and urgent. The child, nestled between two women, watches the dance of the flames with wide, innocent eyes. The men gather in a circle, their weapons held high. They chant, their voices rising and falling like the waves of the sea. The women and children watch them, their faces pale in the firelight. Suddenly, the men rush from the circle, their spears poised. The women scream, the child cries, but it is too late. The lion is upon them, its roar echoing across the savannah. And now, friends, the final image burns into our memory, a low wide shot at dusk. The camera pans across a circle of figures, the tribe. They sit around a small fire, their faces smeared with blood and mud, yet their eyes glow with survival. Between them, the flame from a storm-born branch flickers and sputters, casting long shadows that writhe like phantoms in the gathering darkness. The circle is broken only by the small form of the mother who cradles her infant close, his tiny chest rising and falling steadily. He is alive. And in this moment, there is no greater victory than that. The camera lingers on the circle, the first spark of humanity's endurance etched forever in myth. This has been the story of the Lion King's return. When Rafiki tells the tale to the future queen, Nala, and her son, Simba, how did you like it? What did you think of the animation style? Please let us know in the comments below. If you liked it, please hit the like button and share this video with your friends. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Your support helps us to keep bringing these stories to life. Until next time, Asante Sana.